show. It's welcome to another Sunday night, and we're just talking about Pan Germanism, the Lusitania, and the real story behind it. So our topics today are going to be a continuation of last week's. So when we talked about Fabianism and the real story behind Abraham Lincoln's actions and the crown's control and the Japanese Pan Americanism, Pan Slavicism, the the Asian and Oriental doctrine, Pan Germanism, and more. Tonight is going to be another short show, but next week's show will be talking about the famous book by Rose Martin, the Fabian Freeway, that I've been trying to get you guys really interested in to viewing. It will be really good, so I can't wait to do a project on that and really give you advanced teaching on it. So anybody that studies business, history, secret societies, capitalism, individual liberty, and much more will love it next week. So uh, when we do our live next week, we'll get into that. Tonight, we're going to talk about the Lusitania. And if you're not familiar with this story, uh, with the ship, I guess you will do your research. But those that do know about the Lusitania, there is a good gem in this for you too. So just stay tuned. We will also talk a little bit about the crown, Pan Americanism, Pan Germanism, the French quit the crown, and how America picked it up. We'll talk a little bit about the laws of money and alchemy formula. You know, then we'll talk about the law of money a little bit more than what I just said. This is only our second show, by the way, and I just really hope it continues and grows and can reach people that want to come here. I do this for free, meaning that I don't get paid. I never got paid for this, but uh, even if it only reaches a couple people, it would make me happy and be enough. So I do this for you and just want to do it when I have time, and it's fun for me because I'm a truth seeker and I love knowledge. So, uh, but I do have a Cash App, and if somebody is serious about donating and want to support the channel, you can go to Cash App. You would have to physically go there, but it's cash symbol Klutwick 1225. So I'll spell that for you because it's hard. I understand. Cash symbol KLOOTY. Oh, let me start that over. It's cash symbol KLOOTWYK 1225. And then you could cash at me if you're interested in it. But no obligations. We're not looking for anybody that is hard off. It's bad times out there, and I understand. So, to give you a little background on the future of the crown, though, we'll do a video I plan on doing soon. So, the crown doesn't mean king and queen. The king and queen are sovereigns. The real crown is in London. It's a club where they meet together, and even the king, the queen, any oligarch, all the world leaders around the world go and bow to the God Man. And I'll do a video on the God Man too, and we'll evolve that with the advanced teaching on the crown because I have different perspectives and different studies than people and gotten pretty far. So I know you guys heard a lot about the ground too, so that's why I'm selective in what I talk about, and we'll even get into that and the Crown in London on Fleet Street, Temple Bar. The law offices control the Granny HQ. Victoria Station. The Bank of England, and we already talked about and all their branches. We're going to talk about, but we already talked about one branch in China, the Nanking Bank. But let's remember, Japan tried to break out of the ground and become independent. I personally believe this is the reason why Japan supported Germany's Axis. To support the Germans where they failed when they tried to break away. So the Japanese people most definitely are great warriors. We have to must admit that. I respect them. And today I even love them because they're one of our strongest allies. Oh yeah, so go watch the time lapse of the conflict between China and Japan. It was really good. It's crazy. It's epic. It all started with the invasion of Manchuria in 1931, but was really between 1937 and 1945. And the Chinese Japanese had a major history, so go look it up. The first Sino-Japanese wars in 1894 to 1895 is very interesting too. So you should go there and maybe research that if you're interested in this, because I'm gonna do a teaching about that soon too. But speaking about 1984, I'll have to mention that that was the same year Pan-Germanism was founded in 1894. But for now, let's talk about Pan-Americanism that started with the Monroe Doctrine in 1819 and later was adopted in December 2nd, 1823. It was established. The events that led up to the Monroe Doctrine was the collapse of the Spanish rule in Latin America during the Napoleonic Wars. So we will get into all of that another time. The Monroe Doctrine was also known as Manifest Destiny. It was definitely a strong, strict enforcement of the doctrine. The doctrine had three major concepts, and one was separation of the spheres of control for the Americas and Europe, and it was the second was non-colonization, and third was non-intervention. But which was a blockbuster for foreign policies for America. It literally stopped the whole Eastern Western Hemisphere. I mean, it stopped the whole uh, uh, Eastern Hemisphere from stepping a foot or laying a hand in any of our Western affairs, hemisphere affairs. So the result in doing so was that we would mind our own business. And does that sound a little familiar? Donald Trump said we need to mind our own business. And that's something that he also wants. So I do agree with that and think it's a good thing. Our policies of the day are to have no policies. So, that's a far cry from what it was and what uh, um, uh, the Monroe Doctrine was. We haven't seen anything like it until Donald J. Trump, in his 4-year term. Another Trump goal was getting America out of debt. Does that sound familiar? I hope you're getting the bigger picture now. So, Pan Americanism ends in 1890, and the French were sick and tired of dying for the crown, so then they quit. And so uh, they eventually paid the price, and we'll talk about that with World War II and the destruction of their nation. And also paid, but America made a deal with the crown, and this time to supply the blood for the crown. So now that I believe that this is the exact moment that Abraham Lincoln was rolling in his grave. He fought so hard to prevent this and to keep us out of the debt of the crown and them having control over the U.S. Lincoln prevented this in 1890. We, the American people, were sold out to the crown again, and we're in debt. If Trump can get us out of debt, it would be a start to the comeback of the dollar, the American dollar, and maybe a stepping stone to restore the value of our money again with gold, silver, and coin, which is the real true law of money. In the Constitution, the law of money is that it has to be represented with gold, silver, or coin, not paper, you know. Uh, we used to have value in our money. The true value of our money has started to slip away, even with like Bernard Baruch, which was a financier of uh, FDR's campaign. He financed the other side too, but Bernard Baruch bought up 1/3 of the world's silver and pushed it in for FDR to get in, and then put the price of silver up 500%, and it made him one of the richest men in the world. They had many scams, FDR and him together, on gold, and got all the people to get their gold, and said they would return it in 90 days and never did. But you know, we won't get into him, but I'll do videos on Bernard Baruch and the whole situation, and FDR and the scams that they run on people. But then they took out like silver even in 1964. That's a whole debacle where they're siphoning out real wealth from the American population, uh, and then replace them with worthless materials. Really, you know, same thing with the penny. In 1982 and before, that was all copper pennies, and since it's just zinc and, you know, more worthless materials. You know, you just have to really understand that they've been weeding out our real wealth. And then, you know, you can't find gold in circulation. It's so rare, you know, and silver is becoming just as rare as gold now to find in circulation. So the next hunt for any value is going to be the copper. So stay tuned on that. I believe all newer coins are just a scam, like collecting coins and of these coins that aren't made of nothing but and backed up by nothing but paper money. There's real no value to me. It's just an illusion that we have a choice or a real value. They control value. Remember that. Paper money is an invention of alchemists, by the way, you know, who achieved and damn near, well, they did surpass their achievement by making paper into gold, you know, and that's what we have, you know. So that's crazy. But now let's take a look into the famous ship, the Lusitania. The famous ship, the Lusitania, which was commissioned as a warship for the British Royal Fleet. So it was a definitely a battle-ready warship. It was not just a cargo carrier or cruise liner like they were talking about. Why would a cargo ship need 2,000 people on it? You know, and when it sunk, it only had 763 survivors at the end of it all. You know. because there was 767 survivors, but four of them died afterwards. The Lusitania could have been converted to be war ready at any time. The Germans didn't have just the reason to shoot it down because it was carrying munitions. They suspected it was also because it was commissioned from the Royal British Fleet. But this was all set up, and the Germans fell for it. And I'll explain this right now. So after the Lusitania sunk, Mandel House made President Wilson run to Congress and get him to declare war on Germany. But the Congress shot him down. The Congress is pretty good at shooting things down. Uh, but they didn't enter the war then. They wanted war. They were wanting it bad then. So they wanted to do anything so that the crown. See, Mandel House. He's going to be in this future plot too, trying to enter a war. He's just got his hands in everything. But they wanted to do anything so that the crown can make America enter the war, being their new henchman. President Wilson had an alter ego, a true doppelganger. And his name was the mysterious Mandel House, which was the original Henry Kissinger. So Mandel was a bigwig for the crown and would make major deals all over the world. And Mandel was asked by Vice Lord Admiral of the Admiralty, I quote, Mr. House, what would happen if the Lusitania sunk? And he said, quote, I'm sure a war could be arranged. So this is just proof his hand was in on this. Wilson campaigned on keeping us out of the war, and 30 days later, he was in office declaring war. That's crazy. Wilson was saying one thing and doing another behind American people's back. So let's move on to from World War One and talk about FDR and his scam to enter World War One. The first few facts before we get into that is Max Warburg. If you're not familiar with him, Max Warburg is a German Secret Service. The guy who took Lenin on a private train ride. I believe it was the Golden Train, if you know what I'm talking about, but I'm not sure on that. But Lenin met to overthrow the Allies, financed by Kuman, Loeb, Jacob Schiff, and the Rockefellers. So it wasn't a revolution, but a financed invasion. And also another fact that Trotsky trained his army in New Jersey at the Rothschild-owned Stand Oil refinery. Two ships from the Crown came and picked him up on a coast of the East Coast. And people always talk about who really controls the Crimean oil fields, and I say it's the Crown, and people say it's Syrian Jews, and they're a part of the Crown, a sect. But the Russians did take it back in 2014. They lost it again, but then they got it back in 2023. So let's all remember that. And but getting back to this time period a little bit, why did Hitler command all the U-boats not to engage anyone of the United States flag that was in sight? Because I felt like he felt like they were trying to push them into entering the war, so then they could do the Crown's bidding. So let me get to the this whole little issue. So this is the meat of the bone right here. So, FDR declares war in February 19th, 1941. Our president declares war. America dropped depth charges on German U-boats and surface and took a couple shots. And with low damage, they put on us, but they brought the incident to Congress and was shut down again. So they didn't get their war, even though they wanted to. So I'm excited to tell you this. It's a real gem that I found. So, July 1941, the Secretary of War Department of the United States has an entry in the log. It says, I quote, that we met with our entire cabinet today for the purpose of discussing how to get Japan to attack Pearl Harbor so the Americans could enter the war and be the police force for the crown on Japan, Russia, and Germany. But somehow they work something out, maybe to split things. I don't know. I will get into that some other time, but I'm not too much into conspiracies. But your mind just leads you into certain things when you get revealed certain facts. These are facts. So that is crazy that FDR would risk all those people in Pearl Harbor, and then with on top of it, were they warned before and it didn't reach it in time? Uh, it, this is proof that they were trying to get them to engage into war, or maybe they even was working with Japan to engage into the war for the crown, so then they can fight against the crown together. And I wouldn't know, but these are some crazy facts. The war uh, once it was started would be devastation to everybody, including the French, which quit and didn't want to supply the blood for the crown no more, and they will pay the price because their whole country was in ruins. But the crown had many urban renewal projects, which needed a couple bombs, right? And Japan paid the price for resisting the crown's control over them. Uh, Japan, Russia, Germany would all be defeated for trying to break away from the crown. France will be destroyed in the process for being sick and tired of quitting being the police force for the crown. The United Nations, before the United Nations, which we will cover up in another video, do a cover on another video. But the Germans defy the crown and split their progress with Russia and America, or is Russia playing ball with the crown like America was? I don't know. But here's a fun fact about FDR, and then I'll do some teaching on him later. But son, FDR's son was asked after his father had died about his memorial, and his son said that my dad already has a memorial, the 5,000 people he killed at Pearl Harbor. And some people say it's 30,000 people. But we'll talk about that and more into his son and revealing his dad's scams. I got my Hawaii shirt on, so I went on vacation there not too long ago, so it was awesome. I love the people there. Magical. I like the trees there, the boyan, so cool. But the Hawaiian king over there said that they're Republicans from the top of their heads to the bottoms of their feet. So I definitely respect them. Yeah, we'll be talking about Henry Ford in a future video and his rise to power as an American oligarch, and just the true story that no one has told you. So stay tuned. I like that. But civil means created by government, and I'll explain that. That a right, it can't be civil. If someone can interfere with a right, then it's not a right, it's a privilege, right? You know what I mean? So the Constitution didn't say you have a right to religion. It's unalienable. You know what I mean? That means it cannot be changed or added to. You know what I'm saying? The government shall make no laws to bridge or exercise religious freedoms. That means hands the fuck off, And once something is a right, it can be dissected under law and changed in the name of civil. You know, but before we get back into that, I'll tell you a little something about like even Rome. Rome worked so good because everybody wanted to be involved in Rome. It was high society. It was they had things worked out. They had irrigation. They had people wanted to be taken over by them. So most of the countries like, hey, I hope that Rome will come take us over. and, but yep, we'll be talking about a couple books in the future, but like the Fabian Freeway, and there's another book I would like you can do audiobooks too. That's what I do a lot of audiobooks, and I just I like The Law from Frederick Bastiat, so you should look that up. It's a good one. And a fascist is always accused of what they are, so that's why I'm trying to reveal to you that the communists are real fascists, because they're the ones that originally was calling them fascists, and that fascist literally means a bundle of sticks, so that means stronger together. Does that sound like individual liberty? Uh, the communists are a pure form of fascists. That's why the Russians call Germans fascists, because they are. Property is the only difference between a slave and a free. Civil rights are impossibilities. You are just not thinking that far. And if you really think into it, you'll get to the understanding that, you have to know what is civil and what is rights and what is changeable and what is not. And the Constitution to help you. So if you don't know the Constitution, you can easily get them nowadays, the little booklets sent to you. So, or you can just go online and get a PDF file of the whole Constitution. But then there's the original Constitution where it said like you have the right to pursue life, liberty, and property. Then they changed it to pursuit of happiness. But me, truthfully, I'm a libertarian by heart. I really believe in the overthrow of our current government and system. But I'm voting for Donald Trump, of course, because I think it's a stepping stone in the right direction. So I'll just keep doing that. But competitive capital can only exist in a republic. So the enemy of liberty is always going to be government, and so they don't want you to succeed. They want to take more things away from you. Uh, People talk about history too, so we'll talk about that a little bit. I plan on doing a bigger subject about that also. But people talk about objective history, that there has never been a true objective history because it's just a record of a sliver of selected events. by your rulers that have you can actually track all these stories back to your original masters, you know, because they're only written by the winners, you know. So we have selected events that are selected by their importance. And we see most of known history as being ignored. So we don't even know what's going on down the street, let alone what's in our city, our state, or our country, and or the whole world. It's just um, what they want to tell you. And when we combine history all over the world, we see that there's a lot of fabrications, mistakes, and backroom deals that affect our known history. In 1848, a plagiarist hired by Roosevelt named Horace Greeley financed Karl Marx's uh, manifesto to write the Communist Manifesto. And you know the whole goal of that Communist Manifesto was how to take over developed countries, and you know a lot of that planning of the grid and doing all this stuff back in those times before computers was done inside the georamas, which I will get into another time, and speak about how it's a mind blowing subject. It's huge, and I don't know if I talked about it yet on here, but I will. I did a video on my channel a long time ago, a few years ago, about georamas. I called it the inside job because it's exactly what it is. And they've been, it goes way deeper than that, so I won't get into that subject right now. But I will have to say that. There's a lot of foundation I'll be doing in videos on business and economics because I plan on delivering a lot of information for a lot of you guys to earn some money and get some things going for yourselves. And you have to understand, like I said, a pawn shop is a poor man's bank, and you know you gotta take out a loan, you know, at a bank, and you got to get a slip. A credit union is a working man's bank, you know, which finances governments, commercial banks, international banks. You got the central banks. We'll break all that down. Investment banks that are the corporation banks, you know. We'll have to get into that another time, you know. But we'll probably see you in the next video next Sunday because I'm kind of getting tired. I got work in the morning. But I enjoyed myself and hopefully come back next week and be able to hear some of these topics I got going on. We'll do probably Fabianism, the Fabian Freeway by Rose Martin, and a lot of the literature. A lot of American people need to listen to it, tune in, and get stronger in knowing how to stand with the best system that there was already. We don't need society telling the minority what to do. We have individual rights, and we need to stand up for our true American freedoms and liberties and our unalienable, unchangeable, undeniable right, not rights, civil rights. You know, a king, if he's in charge, end up creating the laws, and that is civil. You know, and we just have to do a better job at restraining the government, and so that we're not dominated in economics, and we're just slaves to the people that are feeding us. You know, if you can't feed yourself, you're feeding the machine that is your slave or your master, that you're the slave to. But yo, have a good day, guys. Hope God blesses you, and we'll do a lot of teachings on God too soon. I kind of want to keep going. I got a lot of information and stuff to teach. So, and if I'm not teaching you, then we're just talking about it again. So, if you want to support, come support me anytime. Have a good night.